What is going on, virtual boys and girls? Blame Chris. Everyone blame Chris. It's just blame him. It's his fault. All of it.
For once, it is my fault. I got to get into the groove now because I've been stressing for like the last 40 minutes trying to get everything to work. The camera software wanted to update and just everything went full retard. And I am
You
saying
can't
that.
say that.
I can say it.
Oh man, not at least the first 10 minutes.
Demonetized.
That's right. No one's gonna watch this now. I'm waiting.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to our slightly delayed episode 94. I think it is
94.
Well, patrons, we love you. Thanks a lot. Let's get that out of the way. Salvador Gilman, Kiwi, thanks for being first in. We really appreciate you guys sticking around for us while we get our. Well, Ryan continues to get his crap together.
Ryan, it's just this Ivy Cam's also playing with me now, but if I can't fix this here.
Technology problems. Oh my god.
I just need my Zoom to calm down here.
What is it? Happy Quest 3S Day. I guess a lot of people are getting their Quest 3S's today. We are going to spend a little bit of time talking about our impressions with the Quest 3S. We have had it for a couple of weeks now. We just weren't allowed to talk about it. So thanks to Meta for letting us have that early. So I guess we'll just, before we get into that, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I told you I'm trying to get into the groove here now. I'm just completely disheveled by this awkward start because I had already written it off that we weren't going to make it today. Are you ready?
Barely, but I mean, this is going to be a very loose episode. I lost my computer, my main computer I use for all my editing and everything else. The power brick thing died on me. So I have been doing everything on this old, it's a 4-year-old desktop now. So I was missing files. I'm ready, Chris. I'm as ready as we ever are, if that makes any sense. So,
I couldn't even get the episode right. It's episode 93.
No, it's 94.
Well, someone wrote 93 in there.
Ooh, that could be me. That could be me.
See, I did.
Son of a bitch.
I did the thumbnail today, and I had put it in there as 94. So thank you, Kiwi, for doing Ryan's job for him.
No, it's changed. I don't know I changed it. I'm not sure if it changes live. No idea. This episode's loose, boys and girls. It's loose.
Ryan's got some crazy shit going on at home right now, so this is us trying to get her done. No, Gilman, it's not 95. Ryan, are you able and ready to talk about what you've been playing that you want to talk about?
Yep. All right. So I threw this together. I'm actually gonna do this. Actually, we'll just leave it the way it is. So, anyways, I've been busy. I've been way too busy, unfortunately. My kid had some health issues I had to take care of. Nothing crazy. She's fine. But she's now essentially homebound for the next 9 weeks. Well, maybe less than that. We'll see how it goes. But in that time, anyways, so I thought I'd have a lot more time to play stuff than I did, but I haven't been. That being said, what I have been playing, and you guys can see it here, it won't be the best, but I've been playing Arizona Sunshine Remake. I'm playing it on PSVR, PCVR, and Quest 3, and even playing the original Arizona Sunshine to put together a very comprehensive review and side-by-side comparison. Man. So I'm not going to go too deep into this. I mean, if you've played Arizona Sunshine 2, it's the first game just reskinned with that engine, and that might not sound like a lot. But I went back and played the original Arizona Sunshine today for PC. It's a bad game. It is a bad game by today's standards. I defended this game, and like I said, rose-colored glasses. It was fine for its time. Man, the amount of hand-holding it does or doesn't do, it's an 8-year-old VR game. But there's the comfort options stink. There's no seated mode. Turning is brutal. Even how you grab stuff, it's just so messy. It's just, you can tell it's an 8-year-old VR game. And I don't mean that to shit on it. I mean, like I said, this is, at the time, we were clamoring for a just a campaign shooter in VR because they weren't there in 2016. It was kind of bizarre. But man, playing it, going from Arizona, the remake to the original, the game has definitely seen some improvements, and no one should ever play the original again unless you're just trying to see what it was like in 2016. It's not fun. It is not fun to play. It's janky. Even the zombies have changed things up. Like they put all the bigger, all the fat zombies in there that can take more hits. They put the armored zombies in there as well. And they're all still, not incredible. They're still pretty easy to kill. I mean, the Arizona Sunshine games have a boss problem where it's just kind of you're facing kind of peons. But that being said, the first game, it's literally just regular zombies or like zombies with some like, I don't know, polyps on them, whatever you're gonna call it. So they've made number 2 way more interesting, way more engaging, and way more like the VR you're used to. Less invisible walls. They've definitely redone the game properly, and it does still feel like the original. Everything's still the same. But yeah, no, that's the biggest takeaway here. It's fine. I mean, if you like Arizona Sunshine 2 and you didn't play the first one, do this. Don't play the original. Just don't.
I feel like you're having a hard time making sentences today.
Well, I'm also on no sleep, so I do apologize. But
I played a little bit of it on the Quest because that's the version that I got access to, and yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's Arizona Sunshine. You know what? I was funny. I was actually watching a video from Mateo311 today, and Mateo said he agreed with what I had been thinking the entire time I was playing the second one. The second one was better in like graphically and some of the mechanics. I still feel like Arizona Sunshine 2, just playing it just felt cumbersome to me. The way it handled kind of just, I don't know, guns and ammo and the movement felt kind of sludgy and just, I don't know, it never felt nimble. And even coming from Vertigo Games, like I felt that Arizona 2 felt like it was like made years after the fall, to be honest with you. Even though I could see a lot of After the Fall's influences and lessons learned in Arizona 2, but the sheer just movement and the way that it handled guns like all over your body and just the shooting of them and everything still felt kind of sludgy. It just felt, and I like this is why
it's way better than the first.
I know
it
is
the original. It's
and this
crazy.
This is why I have slight concerns about Metro. But everything I'm hearing, and I know that someone in this podcast has also played, but so we can't really talk about it. But my concern is that it's still coming from Vertigo Games, and it's like, well, I really hope they need to level up if they're going to deliver, and it sounds like they have. But where I was going with this was Arizona 1, and this is what I said Mateo agreed with me on, is I always thought Arizona Sunshine 1, having played both games front to back and all the DLC on the first, I think Arizona Sunshine, the first one, is just a better game. I just like the where it starts and how it proceeds through and the pacing. It was never a great shooter, but it was always an enjoyable shooter to kind of go through and pop heads. The second one tried to have moments of more ambition with like bigger waves and stuff, and I don't know. The second one just didn't do it for me. I also don't like sidekicks, and as much as I'm a dog guy, I didn't like having a sidekick all the time. I made him do everything. That's
because you're lazy.
No, but
it's not the dog's fault. You didn't have to use him. You
ammo,
have his companion.
But I like playing games on hard difficulties, right? And I like having to conserve ammo. But then you realize in the second one that like part of you conserving ammo was you needed to utilize the dog. And I was just like, nah, I don't wanna. I wish they'd had an option without the dog, but they built it into the story. So
well, you should play the remake then. You might like it. There's no dog in
I know.
I miss the dogs. So
and in playing what as I was starting to say, in playing the Quest version, I was like, yeah, like this is, like you said, this is Arizona 1. The pacing felt the same. The zombie placements felt at least similar. Like I don't remember it that well. I mean, my experience with Arizona Sunshine was PSVR with an aim. And there's a lot of people out there on the PSVR that are obviously going to say, man, I miss the aim controller. I miss the aim controller.
Oh, for sure.
And that's true. However, my counter to that is the game was always originally designed with like scaling up your weaponry with handguns to rifles to fully automatic to grenade launchers and stuff like that. That was the weapon progression. And I feel like the aim controller, them remodeling it to start you with like kind of like an M1 Grand or whatever it was. I don't know. Two-handed in Arizona Sunshine with pistols just feels good. and it's gonna be a lot of fun, I think, to just rip through this with a buddy. And for me, that's where my interest begins and ends with Arizona Sunshine Remake. The only interest I have in playing the second one is to just rip through it with like one of my new VR buddies who, because co-op games are far and few between. Like co-op shooters, just a good little kind of campaign that you can get in co-op that isn't some kind of repetitive evac shooter is still far and few between in VR. So that is where I'm looking forward to playing it, I guess.
Good, then you shut your mouth because I'm talking about the game I'm playing. No, I'll end it up there. It's good, it's fun. I mean, playing co-op is the silly. It's like playing Halo co-op, where it's like the Master Chief, the last Spartan. Except when you play co-op, there's that second Spartan beside him. But it's same thing. Isn't it? This guy's like the last survivor of the zombie apocalypse. And you put 2-player on. He's like, I gotta find a friend, but you're playing multiplayer. It doesn't matter. All the modes are here. All the DLCs here. It's a $10 upgrade path. And if you already own Arizona Sunshine already, so that's, in my opinion, it's worth it. It's a dramatically improved game. I haven't played the Quest version. I played the PSVR version, PSVR 1 rather, sorry, for the original game. And it's definitely dramatically improved. Like the Arizona Sunshine 2, however they built it, like it's pretty impressive. Like even the fact there's ragdoll physics on the Quest version. Like I remember when Arizona Sunshine came out for the PSVR 1, they had to get rid of ragdoll because they said that like the PS4 couldn't handle the ragdoll physics.
Which is funny because we've seen ragdoll physics done on the Quest 2.
I think I mean, with Vertigo being a fairly new studio, I think there's a lot of just learning
the way the game was made, right? Like we even touched base on that the developers of Into the Radius. A lot of the reason that Into the Radius 2 is already kind of in early access is that mistakes were made early on in development on Into the Radius 1 that haunted them all the way through development as far as performance and graphics and things they wanted to do. And so I feel like they never said this part, but I feel like they just kind of like stopped development on Into the Radius once they hit an acceptable delivery of game and just moved on to what the new thing. And Arizona 2 is probably running on the After the Fall engine.
I would assume so.
Let's not forget that Arizona Sunshine 1, not only coming like from like 2016 or 2017,
16
on the like talking about like ragdoll physics and stuff. Like, I mean, it was designed to run the Quest 1.
You know what's funny is there's actually, even as much as I'm bashing the first game, I don't want to talk about Arizona Sunshine forever here, but the first game, there's actually some impressive ragdoll. Even the lighting, some of the dynamic lighting in the original actually looks better than in the remake. Just the way they put item placements and stuff. It's actually, some things are actually surprisingly impressive, but then other things like the water looks like water, like from a game, like it doesn't look right. It just looks wrong
in the original.
Yeah, in the original. Yeah, it doesn't look like water. It looks like video game water. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Now
make
you were
sense.
saying something interesting to me. I know that the side by side's going to go up, but I get the sense that this is probably something that you only see really in the headset. Is you were talking about some of the surprising differences in clarity between the PSVR 2 and the PC version.
So yeah, I couldn't get that footage together in time for this. But something I noticed and I was actually surprised about, and it's not like it's not known, but I went from jumping from Quest to PC to PSVR back to PC. And in doing so, when I jumped back to PC, then back to PSVR 2, I was surprised at how blurry it looked. How it reminded me of going from PC to PSVR 1 back in the day, where just, that lower res. And it's, as far as I can tell, the PSVR 2 version and the PC version are identical. This has the same pop-in issues, the same items clip. It's like identical. And I'll cover all that stuff in more in depth in the actual side-by-side. But yeah, like the details, like it was on the Quest 3, linked to the PC, everything's crystal clear. And then going to the PSVR, things got muddy, man. When zombies in the distance, their faces were blurry. I couldn't see the details I could see way more clearly on the Quest 3, PC. And I guess the second thing is that the Sense controllers were getting in my way. Because you two-hand it, right?
They are big.
And they're big, but they actually were getting in my way. So on Quest 3, I was headshotting like crazy. PC, headshotting like crazy. PSVR, I can't explain why. I can't figure out why. It takes me 3 shots to kill a guy. Like, I'll get the occasional headshot, but I'm going through ammo 3 times as fast than the other version, playing the exact same game. and I can't figure out what is going on there. But yeah, it was definitely like surprising at how almost washed out everything looked. It's still there, all the same lighting effects, everything's still there. It just it was surprising to see just how much blurrier it looked. It reminded me of going back to the PSVR one days. And I know that's dramatic, and then of course this is way better than the PSVR one, but it had that same kind of almost like screen door effect,
I will
which
I will say, and I spoke about this in the last episode when we talked about, or I guess in the first episode of us coming back when we talked about the games we were excited for, is that like I'm curious how Metro is going to look on the PSVR 2. I mean,
oh,
yes,
I can't wait to see what
we've
it's gonna look
seen
like.
some video footage of it, and that looks good. But what I'm specifically want to know is like, yeah, like that crispness of resolution, and also reprojection. Now, you said there's reprojection on the PSVR 2 version, uh,
Looks like.
and that sucks. It lends me to believe that it doesn't. I don't feel like Vertigo Games has their hands, like their heads wrapped around like how to make PSVR 2 games yet. Like they're or they're phoning it in and they're just not wanting to put the effort in there. Like we did hear recently from the developers of Max Mustard that their game sold better on the PSVR 2, and that was awesome to hear. But what they did let slip was that they said, and that's with 2 million headsets. So wherever they're getting their info from, I mean, if it's valid, who knows? I'm going to guess it probably is, because Sony probably lets developers know what install base they're dealing with. And maybe Vertigo Games is just looking at the PSVR 2 and just like, well, they can just get a modified PC version. That's like all they get. We turn down the graphics, and this is the way they goes. Because that's what it feels like. Because even after the fall, it was not the best version on PSVR 2. Like, it was good. It was far and above the Quest version, but it was not the PC version.
No.
It just was, and that's like, it was much closer to the PC version. But all I'm saying is that like we see some games, like I don't know, like Saints and Sinners 2, and No Man's Sky, and a few other games too, and they're like definitive versions on PSVR 2. These developers use the other Into the Radius. They use that dynamic foveated rendering, and they kill it. It's like the best, most solid version to play. No reprojection, super clear, using the HDR, all that. And it's just really unfortunate that I don't think Vertigo Games either has the capabilities to figure that out, or they just don't care enough. They don't feel like the costs are justified. And I think that's the case. So hopefully Metro rather is just such a big deal. And they've got other people looking over their shoulders. It's not just Vertigo, and hopefully, that's not the case. I have
You've
no
been
doubt. I have no doubt that Metro is going to look good on PSVR 2, and we've seen that. But is it going to be? Is it going to get the love that it needs to have? I don't know.
We're gonna find out soon enough. But November 7th, that's like 3 weeks away, so
Yeah.
coming quick. Chris,
Yeah.
You've been playing something?
I have been playing something, guys. I'm really wish in retrospect that I had gotten a review out for this. It kind of fell off my radar. I don't really know how I missed this. It's called Into Black. And when you think of developers that are, reliable and kind of like true VR developers, they've just been in the scene and they go game after game after game. I think of like Survios, and I think of like In Dreams. Those are the two that just immediately come to mind for me. And guess in Vertigo Games. But who you don't think about is the developer that made this. This is from Binary Mill. And Binary Mill made the very awesome Rush. Yeah. There's a
I'm on the
collectible,
box. 85% the VR grid. It's
Woo!
backwards, but we get there.
I love that game, even though it has a bit of a mobile feel to it, like its graphics.
Dude, it was on the Gear VR when it first came out.
It just played. It just was such a good game. And then they did Gun Club VR, which got better and better and better and better as they completely updated it. And then there was what was it, like Moto GPX or whatever the heck it was?
Mini Moto Racing?
Yeah, there we go. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now, I thought that game was a little slow, as kart racers go. but it was super polished and super well done, and it looked amazing. And now Binary Mill, like I was wondering where they were and what was up. Boom, they drop into black. And guys, I don't even know where to start with this game. It's incredible. Like I'm afraid that Into Black is going to I'm still going to have to do a review for this. I feel like just for coverage, because I feel like this game needs to be shouted from the rooftops. You need to check this game out. You too, Ryan. Like you got if you love VR games and you're hungry for meaty VR experiences, like we just said that Arizona Sunshine, when it came out, there was just nothing. There was no deep single player campaign type experiences. Into Black is what I want. This is awesome. It's like a combination of was it? Oh my god, what's it called? Deep Rock Galactic and No Man's Sky mixed with a little bit of what the shit was that game called? I can't remember now. But it was this really quirky flat adventure shooter where you had like a whip, and you were out there like collecting and crafting in this crazy beautiful world. The name's completely escaping me, but this feels like all of those games kind of put into one to kind of have its own identity with kind of a splash of like kind of a Borderlands art style. Like graphically, this game they nail it. Like, yes, it's a Quest game. It's on Quest only. I don't know if it's coming anywhere else. With that being done, it is very obviously graphically designed to run on the Quest 2 and 3. But it's on the Quest 3, it's gorgeous. Like, they've just picked this perfect graphic style that's obviously cartoony, but it's got a great lighting engine. I mean, Into Black, essentially what you're doing is you're cave diving, and you've got a spaceship, and you're beaming back to your space shuttle, and you're picking different places, and there's a campaign storyline that's like taking you through this as you're collecting various things. But it's a resource gathering game, it's a shooting game, it's a crafting game. Like you basically go out on missions and you can pick how hard they are. You jump in there and you're gathering and crafting and mining out on your journey there. And again, like light's a big thing. You've got a torch that can be a flashlight and also shoot off like flares, and you're constantly exploring. Like it's just an amazing experience. It's not perfect. The AI could be better. Some of the enemies are a little dumb. Some of the music gets a little bit repetitive, and some of the gathering can get a little tedious. To a certain degree, but it's got a great game loop if you like crafting games, because you're constantly I guess it's kind of got a cave digger kind of vibe to it, but way better and way more ambitious than that. I mean, because you go out into these levels, these massive cave systems. Like you can explore them. Like there's multiple directions. It's not a linear cave exploration. And exploration is rewarded. You'll find these crates that are filled with gear and schematics, and they're all like color tiered. So it is a bit of a looter shooter. And you'll gather all this, and then if you can successfully get to the objective and satisfy those requirements, then you evac back to your ship. And then there's a fabricator and there's an upgrade machine, and you can build better weapons and better crafting material and better lasers and the ability to carry more gear on your back and stuff. That's like kind of the game loop as you go through the story. And if you want to like really buff your character up and completely spec out, you can then revisit past missions and do them as material runs. And again, that's where the difficulty control comes into play. This game is incredible. Like if I had to give it a rating,
came out of nowhere. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like if I had to give it a rating, I would give it probably at least an 8.5 out of 10. And that's a score based on the playground that it's playing in. Like for example, guys, go check out my review of Trombone Champ Unflattened. I mean, I gave it a 9 out of 10. But I like to review games. I don't know how you work, but I review games based on like the genre that they're in and who they're trying to appeal to, like what they're trying to accomplish. Because you can't take a Beat Saber and compare it to a No Man's Sky and then
Right.
say like, well, Beat Saber, you just chop blocks. Well, it's true. It's not a,
Yeah.
but that's just not it's not trying to be a No Man's Sky. This is kind of trying to be a No Man's Sky. I don't want to get people's expectations way out of whack. It's not No Man's Sky. It's more Deep Rock Galactic than anything else, but you don't dig into cave walls and stuff. It's not completely destructible. But I will say it's also not procedurally generated cave systems. They are handmade cave systems, and they're neat to explore. Um, my biggest thing, just not to repeat myself, but the enemy AI, they're a little dumb, and it does make combat feel a little bit tedious, especially earlier on when you've just got a pistol. So that is something that I'd like to see Binary Mill continue to grow this game as they have with Gun Club, because this game is awesome. I really hope it doesn't get lost, because
This is a co-op game too?
it has co-op as well. Thank you for reminding me. You can co-op the whole game. And in a fall that's going to see Batman and Aliens and Metro and Behemoth, like,
Yeah, easy to get lost in this shuffle.
right? But this game, like, it could be better than some of those games. Very likely better than some of those games. It's polished as shit too.
It even
Like,
has a like a battle royale kind of mode as well.
I have
PvPvE mode.
I did not I have not
12,
seen that
12
yet.
players make their way to the center of an ever-shrinking map, battling enemies along the way and collecting resources.
There was another mode at the beginning of the main menu there. You're right. I haven't gotten into that yet. So that's cool.
I'm on the FAQ here, so
I didn't even know that.
10 out of
God,
10.
it's so good. It's so polished. I mean, considering that Binary Mill has never done a game like this, like, they leveled up like crazy. Like, this game needs to be out there. People need to know it. If you don't own it, go and you have a quest, just buy it if this sounds appealing to you. Because if I had to compare it to a game loop, it's kind of like Saints and Sinners in some ways. I mean, you don't really gear up in the same way to go out and survive. It's not that survival aspect, but the way
they
that
made Resist. I knew we were missing something.
Oh, really?
Yes, I knew there was something that we were.
Okay,
Yeah,
and I would say that makes some sense, because like the pistol combat and some of the just gun combat in general definitely feels like that. But the world that you're exploring and the way it uses light sources is just unexpectedly great on the quest. It's not something you would expect. It's just not what we expect when we talk about quest games. Like, we talked about companies staying in their lane and not trying to make ambitious games. Like, should this be on PC and PSVR 2? Absolutely.
apparently it says it's meta now, and they'll consider other platforms after release. So
Yeah,
who knows?
well, they need to consider other platforms now, because everyone needs to try this game. It's a sci-fi gem, even with its dumb AI. That's all I have to say.
Sweet. Now,
There's a box quote for you. It's a sci-fi gem, even with its dumb AI.
I'm pretty sure they'll just take the first part of that and probably leave out the second part of that quote.
Yeah.
The sci-fi gem. ... Chris, the VR grid. You touched on it earlier, but I want to touch on this before we get to the main conversation here. But the PSVR 2 sales that the Max Muster developer, since they leaked, he just said that with 2 million PSVR 2 headsets out there, they were kind of surprised that the game sold quicker on the PSVR 2 than it did for the Quest. But I mean, and that's awesome for them. I mean, they deserve all the credit in the world. Everyone seems to be loving Max Mustard. I like Max Mustard. You thought it was okay. But the fact there's only 2 million PSVR 2s, I'm not sure if only is the right word, but it's definitely, assuming they know something. Who's the developer now? I don't know why I can't remember that. Richie's Playing Experience. Damn. Anyways, assuming they know.
But wasn't it like? No, I don't know to call it Bob's Toys or something, but it's
No. It's. I know.
I'm looking it up. Continue.
Anyways, so according to them, there's 2 million PSVRs out there in the wild, in the world. I'm assuming. I mean, they're an Australian based developer, so I can't imagine they're talking about North American stats or anything like that. So with 2 million PSVR 2s out there, that number does seem low to me, considering that I think a month after PSVR 2's launch, Sony had said like 600,000 or something like that, really close to that number. So in the year and a half since launch, it's really only been selling roughly this, like less, I don't know, like 500,000 per quarter, less than that, like, or per like half year, whatever. Like it's not selling a lot. And considering the sales that went up when they had their little price cut sale a few months ago, there when it was like $200 off, and they said sales could went up like 10,000%. Like it's a scary number a little bit, because it does seem low. To me, it seems low.
This is where the conversation comes in that Sony really needs. They need bangers that are Sony only headsets, for Sony only, and that's where, like, as much as like this is probably one of the best falls
Boost.
for VR that I've ever seen. Yeah, uh, it's still not a banger fall for only PSVR headsets. Like, it's great for VR, but it's not a fall that makes me go, gotta get a PSVR 2. I mean, that's the only downside. I don't mean that to sound super negative, but it's just, I'm just like kind of devil's advocate. If you're just not, if headsets just aren't moving, how do you encourage that, right?
Yeah.
You're the more expensive headset. And so, like I've said before, you need to somehow focus on your consoles, your console owners, because for them it makes a lot more sense to invest in a PSVR 2 headset than anyone else, because they're half in,
Hmm.
right? Um, I don't know. It's. I mean, this is, we've talked about this to death. What I did find neat is some people were talking about, well, why did it sell so much better on console, like on PSVR 2? And I know some people said, well, it's because all the hype was done on the Quest already. Like, the word was out that it was a great game and people were excited for it. I would say to some degree that's true. Like, it went at, obviously it's not a known IP. It had to make its own name for itself on the Quest and on PC. And so I think
I
it's
know
on,
the reason
on
why it's
PC, right?
sold better. I know the obvious is Astrobot.
Well, I have two answers to that. It's not just Astrobot. You're right,
Oh, it
and
is.
people
It is.
people are hungry for an Astrobot experience.
But
But I
because
think
they know, but
it's
that's
more. But okay, but it's more than that. It's like, why did Astrobot do so well? Besides just being a great game. And my theory is, console gamers. We're console gamers. Like, you grew up with platformers if you were a console gamer. Like, I'm not
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, that's where we're all like, most of us didn't never left that comfy console environment. And when we think console, we think platformers. Like, it's just they're like a match made in heaven.
No, you're not wrong. Because I mean, like I said, the one thing is like why Astrobot was a success is almost irrelevant. It was a success, a huge success. Everyone loves Astrobot. We thought Astrobot was going to be the next, like the PSVR 2 mascot.
I know.
So when that went sideways, there was still like people, PSVR owners were clamoring for the next Astrobot, whereas no one on Quest was clamoring for the next Ven. No offense to Ven VR Adventure, but it just didn't have the same kick. So there wasn't this drive. This wasn't like, oh my god, this like amazing, because Ven was great for what it was, but it was a lower budget title. It did feel like it was aping things. It didn't have the polish that Astrobot had. So with Max Mustard essentially coming in and with the reviews, including my own, saying that this is very, very, very similar to Astrobot, enough where I say it does fill that niche. Does it do as well as Astrobot? No, it does not. But it's pretty damn close in some respects. Where that was enough, man. People were holding off. I mean, I know guys too. I'm just reading forums who bought the Quest version and then bought the PSVR 2 version too because they wanted to see that visual upgrade. Like, there was a demand for this if you knew you were in demand for it. It's kind of the funny thing. It's a chicken egg thing, but I just feel like, yeah, like, so, like, to your point, like platformers on the Quest, like Lucky's Tale, Ven, and now Max Mustard, they're just so few and far between. But Astrobot just blew us all out of the water thanks to this Sony, published title that was freaking amazing. So yeah, Max Mustard I think is definitely riding those coattails, but deservedly so, I guess.
I guess Ryan knows I think this. My only real issue with Max Mustard, I don't think it's on the level of Astrobot. I don't agree with that. But
I said it's close.
yeah, okay.
I said
my,
Astrobot's better. I said Astrobot's
my
better.
biggest
So.
issue is Max Mustard is Max herself. I
Yes.
think she's
Yeah.
a completely forgettable generic character. Like there's just nothing special about her. She doesn't talk, so they don't even really build a personality. Like Astrobot didn't talk to you either, but he was cute as shit, and he had personality in the way that he just like interacted with the world and like
Yeah.
and just the way he acted. There's nothing special about Max at all. She looks like she's yanked out of some generic.
No, and look, it's the name too. Like Max Mustard is not a good name. It's
No,
it's just
nothing,
not.
nothing about her. Nothing about her. Her name, her looks, her character. It's all super generic and forgettable. And I wish I'd been at Toast Interactive going, no.
Put a mustache on her. It's a
No.
me, you Max.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's Max Mustard.
All right. So then I think that brings us to the. I think that's. Oh. I guess. You know what? Let's just talk about the Quest 3S. It'll kind of blend in here, guys. The Quest 3S came out. If you caught our last episode, we were talking about it. Kind of like our pre thoughts on the release as far as what it meant to the VR landscape. We've had our Quest 3Ss for a little while now. It's definitely. I mean, I'll say up front, this is not a headset I'm going to use a lot because I have a Quest 3. Like there isn't. It doesn't fill a niche in my life. Like it's a downgraded product in most ways.
Yeah,
Um,
there is not a single reason to own a 3S.
it has a pass-through button.
Ooh, I actually
Pass-through
I
button.
prefer the tap.
You're just being uppity now.
I do love the tap. I mean, and it's a crowd pleaser. Like, I mean, the PSVR 2, I miss it on the PSVR 2 that you have to like get that little button under here. Like when I have people that are playing my Quest or whatever, I'm just like double tap the side of your head. They're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? And like even the home screen, how it goes, zoop. It's just very VR of them. I don't know. I like that. Not to cut you off, I was just kind of agreeing
No.
that like if you have a Quest 3, there is absolutely no reason to get a 3S unless you want a second headset. Now, if you do not have a Quest 3 and you want a Quest 3, what would you say, Ryan?
Well, that depends. Are you if you're okay? If you're so there's two people here in my personal opinion. There's people who don't have a Quest or people who have a Quest 2. Even a Quest 1, I guess, if you've been really holding out. And I think so.
Four's gonna be my number,
right? I've seen guys who are like, I'm not buying this till the 4. I'm not, whatever. It doesn't matter. I said it before, and I still stand by this. The price point on this is right. Having played with it for a while, I'm actually impressed by the lenses in here. They're not as good as the Quest 3. I'm not going to pretend they're not. You can the Fresnel lenses, you can see the curvature on the edges a bit if you're looking for it, but it's not that bad. It's actually like compared to like the sweet spot on the PlayStation versus the sweet spot on the 3S. I don't have to mess with the 3S much at all. I put it on and it's still basically there. Whereas, PlayStation, you do have to mess around and find that spot, whatever. And the screen's a little bit less going from the 3 to the 3S. I did see the drop in clarity like a little bit, but not as much as I was expecting to. So I think if you honestly, if you're don't have a VR headset, I think the Quest 3S is the best way to kind of, I guess, dip your toe. Is still kind of like, it's still $400. It's not like it's like cheap, but it's your cheapest option, and it gives you the most stuff. You're getting Batman, you're getting all the other bonus stuff. It does seem like if you were gonna do VR and we're hesitant, it's not going to get much better than this as far as value goes.
Oh my
unless
God.
unless you want to get, unless you have a PC or or I don't even know. The value in this thing is so good.
Meta's
gives you
taking a
access
loss
to-
on this. I mean, look, it's 300 American. What's the newest Android or Apple phone go for if you want to buy it in store just outright?
$1,200, $1,400. Yeah.
Easy, right? And this is essentially that technology. Like it's basically running a high-end Android chip, right? And then it's got everything else like lenses and pass-through and audio and like all that. Like I mean, it's like they're taking a loss on it. They have to be,
dude. But the stuff they took out, like even the fact that it doesn't have like the I'm forgetting words now, but like how it scans your room. The depth sensor, sorry. It
Yep.
doesn't have a depth sensor. It's just using like an algorithm to like determine your room. It works the same as far as I can tell. I can't. It's detecting my room the exact same without this actual sensor. So whatever technology they do, great, fine, that's awesome. If they can shave the cost off of the next headset by just using some AI thing, it works amazing. There's what they're cutting in costs. I think more than justifies what you're getting. Now, if you're going from a Quest 2 to a 3 or 3S, I think it becomes a bit harder because one of the things that actually few reviews are mentioning, I've gone through like CNET, Tech Radar, a bunch of just to kind of see what people were saying, and none of them mentioned the words are just a struggle this episode.
Facial interface.
No, your field of view.
Hmm.
Because Quest 2 is 90 degrees, and Quest 3S 90 degrees, but the Quest 3 is 100. I forget 102. Oh, I'm losing it, man. I'm losing it. And you do feel a little more focused in when you jump from headset to 3 to 3S. You do feel that closer in, and if you're just a Quest 2 person, you're used to that. That's how you're using VR for the last few years. It's the same, but to go from a 3 to a 3S, you definitely feel like you're looking through periscopes a little bit more. So that's a concern. But once again, if you don't know what you're missing, then you might be cool with it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna, I'm gonna guess that most of the people say that watch our show, are fairly big into VR, and I feel like if I would say to you guys, if you don't have a Quest 3 and you're just looking at you're like, okay, fine, like I love my PSVR 2 but I do want a Quest because I don't want to miss out on like Batman and all the other cool like mixed reality and just VR things that it does. I really do feel like the Quest 3, like the main Quest, is still the way to go. Like the wider field of view, to me, field of view is more important than resolution to a certain degree.
I agree.
We talk about immersiveness, like anything. I mean, I wish field of view was just like they could just get it way out. Like I don't even want to. I don't want to see the edges of my headset ever.
Come on, Pimax, give us a headset.
Well, but I mean, obviously that's computing power too, right? So I mean, I find the Quest 3 is the way to go. It's just a better display. Like I mean, you just throw it on your head, and it's super sharp. Where you really notice the resolution difference between the Quest 3 and the 3S, for me, is like the difference in the lenses as well is when you're just on the main menu, because it's something that's always like super crisp and the best resolution the headset can do, basically, like through the UI, and obviously watching movies and stuff, you're going to notice it there. It's less so in the games. Field of view will play a part in the games, but the quality of the display and the lenses is less of an issue in these games because most of these games are not hitting that max resolution anyways. And so you can switch between the two headsets and get essentially the same experience. The one thing about the Quest 3S that I would say I was pleasantly surprised with is it doesn't feel cheap.
Yep.
It feels, I would say, along the same lines of quality as the Quest 3, which I thought felt like a really nice, solid piece of tech. The Quest 2 to me always felt a little cheap.
Yeah.
The PSVR 2 feels a bit cheap. So did the PSVR 1. Like they feel a little toyish. Maybe because they're so light, but there's just a lot of space on the PSVR 2 and not a lot of stuff in it, like for like, the amount of area that it takes up. And so maybe that's mainly what I'm feeling. It just feels like a little like flimsy because it doesn't have that weight factor. But back to the Quest 3S, I just feel like it feels like of the same quality, and I thought maybe it was going to feel more Quest 2-y, more cheap. The facial interface that it comes with is mostly the same. It looks different. It's gray, but it feels, I'm looking at my Quest 3 right now, it's about the same. But the biggest thing is it still comes with a shitty strap. And I do not understand why Meta can't get it.
Because they want you to buy the Pro strap. That's why.
But the Pro strap sucks too.
I know. That's the funny thing is they're
the
really kind of
strap still sucks. Like I put it on my Quest 3S because I had one with the battery, and it's still like no, look, this exists, Meta. The Bobo strap, the Halo strap that we all know from the PlayStation days. It's the way to go. Do not use my face to hold it on. It's, oh my god, it's
And
just like,
thankfully, the 3S also uses the exact same stuff as the 3, so you can still buy
yeah,
your Bobos.
yeah,
It's all compatible.
I
They
know.
didn't do any.
Even though a lot of these peripheral makers are quantifying it as being separate for the S. The only thing that, even the controllers are exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I threw
But
an Elite strap on my. I got an extra Elite strap lying around. I just threw that on my 3S
God, I
right
hate
away,
strap.
right away.
It's so, it's just, I feel like it's like I've seen people online talking to other people and trying and like about getting a Quest, and so many times I see them saying like, okay, so it's $299 plus get an extra strap and probably get one with a battery pack add-on. Like I, it's at the point where I'm like, Meta, like for what, like, since they're already selling this thing at like pretty much cost or below cost, basically make a Bobo type strap with with the ability to add a battery and right out of the box, and let people buy extra batteries for this. Then the idea of how long you can play on the Quest isn't even a question. This 2 to 3 hours doesn't even matter, because like on mine, like on the Bobo strap, there's a battery slot right there, and you just go like this, boom.
That's the old style.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's it, and it actually counterweights it too nicely. And when you're done with this one, you charge it and you throw on a second one. It's endless play. It's how it should be.
The second thing is there. If you have the option, don't buy the Quest 3S carrying case, the one made by Oculus, because it only fits your Quest 3S with the strap it comes with. If you put the Elite strap on there or any other strap at all, it will not fit in this container, which sucks. I actually like the design of the container, but it's too small. I don't know, like it's like
got like a 1/4-inch space where the strap is supposed to go, and if you actually see the pictures, yeah,
you can I'll show. I can show you here. So like, obviously your head strap, your headset goes here, and because it's a cloth strap, which goes in here, your controllers fit right here,
yeah,
and your wire goes here. But you can't put any strap at all. Will not fit inside the case. It's like this was more stupid than
the cloth has to like fold into the headset, right? That's what it relies on.
I don't know. Yeah, to me, don't.
You made a case that doesn't even fit your own Elite strap.
It's crazy. And
which, I understand, which is almost a mandatory purchase at the minimum.
Right. That's what gets me. Like when I got the case, I was like, oh, it's even smaller. Because I mean, my Quest 3S case or my Quest 3 case, I haven't used my Quest 2 case, my Bobo S2 case, because my Quest 3 case, like the Meta one, will not fit with my straps and stuff, which is fine. It's not a total Frankenstein headset, but we're adding stuff to it. But the fact that case doesn't barely fits the Quest 3 out of the box, let alone putting anything else. Elite, dumb. Don't waste your money on that. Buy a Quest 3 case at the very least, so you have the space to mess around a little bit. And even seriously, probably go for Kiwi Design or Bobo for the cases, because they just have more space to put the stuff you need to in there. Yeah. Besides the peripherals, though, the headset's all right.
My only other complaint about the Quest 3S, and I might eat my own words here. So I'm actually gonna look this up. I was gonna say the hard drive, to my knowledge, it's only got the one size, doesn't it?
128 gigabytes.
Yeah, and there's no alternative. Like they didn't want to, I guess, mix messaging here. So I think that's important for people to understand that, like,
I think they discontinued the 128 Quest 3s, I think.
I think they may have.
Hold on. Now I may be making
This is what I'm wondering. But the point is that, like, for me, I wanted the 512 Quest 3. I needed the memory, like, because games are getting bigger. Like,
yeah, the leak is they're being discontinued and it's going to go 256.
Because like Batman's 33 gigabytes. Just putting it out there.
No.
Yes.
20.
Is it? You're right. Sorry, you're right. It's 20. You're right. It's 20 because I looked it up. Arkham Asylum, which is supposed to be kind of like almost a kind of a sequel to, in some ways, at least in its kind of its size and style, was 25 gigabytes.
Asgard's Wrath was 33. I think that's where you got that number from.
Yeah, it is, because I was looking at sizes on my hard drive today, and and obviously there's games like like Medal of Honor that were huge. They were like 60 gigs. and like I mean, your memory goes pretty quick. And I like the extra size, and I think so when you're looking at pinching pennies, it's important to note that like you're not going to be putting all your games in your game library on your Quest 3S. The hard drive space just isn't there, and you can't expand it. So it's something to keep in mind. I mean, I still feel like the Quest 3S is going to be aimed primarily at people who are dipping their toes in VR. I think most people that
Yeah.
are if you're buying a Quest 3 and you're already a VR fan and you're just looking, you just want to get into the Quest ecosystem. I think the extra couple $100 is worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, if you're already committed to having the best VR experience, yeah, go with 3S or 3 rather. The benefits are there and they are noticeable. But like you said, if you're dipping your toe in the VR for the first time, I think this is the best way to go about that. And
It's a good
if you like
early
what you have,
adopter headset,
yeah,
you know,
no,
and it's also a great headset if you want a second headset. Like I often try to get my friends to play like Walkabout with me or Golf Plus or something if they come over and or bowling or whatever, something easy like that. And so having a second headset in the house is really sweet. And I would totally put them in a Quest 3S. Like
oh
they're
yeah,
not gonna know.
yep,
They're not gonna care. They're just not. They're not like me, and they don't have a reference to it. I mean, we're talking about going. You and I are going like we're going like this,
yeah, no, and
and
that's exactly when you're literally like swapping headsets, which is just not something you would do. And when you're also looking for it too. I mean, I'm also like pixels. When you're focusing on like what does that look like now? Switch it out. Like it's not how you play a game. So we are being technical snobs here, I guess, as far as that technical. We're being snobs as far as like side by side like that. But yeah, if you just throw someone in the headset, they're not going to be like, oh, this is awful. Like it still looks perfectly fine. It's miles ahead of PSVR 1 as far as resolution and stuff goes. Like no one's going to complain about like what they're looking at unless they know otherwise. But
yep, yeah. I mean, it's got. I mean, it has full color pass through the same cameras that are in the Quest 3, so they're meh, just the same as the Quest 3. They're meh. They're okay. They do pass through. The color's nice, and it's and for anyone who wants to get into mixed reality stuff, it's pretty much the same experience as the Quest 3 as well. So, like I said, it's a great for the masses headset. And that's obviously who it's aimed at. It's very price conscious, and they tried to cut in areas that only really enthusiasts are going to give a shit about.
yeah, yep.
Except for that strap. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, you've bitched about the strap since the Quest 2. Like, you didn't have a Quest 1,
And
did
they're
you? You
Yeah, I
did have a
did.
Quest 1.
And
You did.
they've been crappy since Quest 1.
Yeah.
Everyone hates them. It's like, do they have like a deal with like some of the peripheral manufacturers? They're like, we will just continue to put out the worst strap. Like it's like one step away from toilet paper. And then and it's like, and then you can make all your money. Like if Meta got smart and just like basically aped the Halo strap from Bobo, like a couple of companies have, peripheral manufacturers out of business. I don't know.
They won't. They seem to really like their Elite strap. I mean, they've been using the same strap since the Quest 2, so they love the design of that thing, and it hasn't changed other than it not breaking as much anymore.
I just want to find the guy at Meta that was like, yeah,
That's right, boss. We're talking about you.
This is the epitome of Elite straps.
Oh yeah. No, I see what you're saying there. Yeah. It's
yeah. I mean,
it's functional.
I mean,
it's fine. Yeah, but it's better options.
oh my god, it's like
Any better
putting
options,
a
literally.
jock strap around your head.
It's so close. You can make your own. You can make your own out of duct tape. It would just be as functional.
The Meta jock strap. Speaking of Meta, one thing that also hit the news was the I mean, people know about this, but the leak of Meta's Avalanche.
Avalanche.
Now, if you guys don't know what Avalanche is, it's Meta's cloud gaming service that's doing a little bit of reading about it, has like kind of leaked before. Like sadly it's Bradley had also kind of like let that go before that. I guess it kind of popped up somewhere. I think it was in the coding, I believe, or something.
Sounds like a Bradley thing.
Right? But it actually a like a placeholder actually showed up in the store, and you could pre-order Avalanche.
I
It
got
didn't.
the link here right now. Oh nope, not available. It's all
Yeah,
it's gone. It
it
was
didn't do
there.
it, and it yeah, and even at the time of reading it, it didn't do it anymore, right?
Oops.
And so it was kind of a non-issue. But the fact is, it whoopsie daisied itself into the store, which has brought up the conversation that like this is still a thing. Meta invested a crap ton of money in this. I was reading about it. So it's like showing the light of day, and like some people in Meta years ago had talked about in 2020 said that they thought that Meta getting into cloud gaming was looking like a 5 year thing. Well, guess where we're at? We're at 2025, and I don't know.
Look, I mean, obviously, cloud gaming is becoming a thing everywhere. I actually haven't heard too much chatter. I'm sure I'm just out of the loop as far as cloud gaming and like PC and everything else. And obviously,
Basically,
it's just.
It's Game Pass. It's the only thing that anyone really talks about. They dominate the conversation, right? Because it's all about library.
Mhm.
And
And if they can get
how many
around
of those
latency
people are
issues,
cloud gaming? I don't know.
but as far as VR goes, if they can get around latency issues, and that's the biggest thing in my opinion, because if your hands don't move where your hands are supposed to go, there's any kind of delay on that, it's done. It's broken. You can't use it. Even there's like half-second delay is enough to make. Now it's like watching a shadow
Well,
of your arms go everywhere. Like that's
yeah. If you're
that's
talking
you
in
can't do that.
VR especially, right?
You can't have any latency, man. Like you just can't. I mean, any
Because
jank, it's you're done with your game. Period. So, like I
because
said,
you have
have
that
your hand
connection.
swimming. You move
Uh,
your hand and watch your hand in VR go right behind it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at
I should
all.
mention though, yeah, it's gonna feel like Surgeon Simulator.
Yeah,
I
That's
should
exactly.
I, I should mention though that in the teaser image that came up on the store, it had Lone Echo, and I believe the first Asgard's Wrath game, kind of like in
Yeah.
its image. And so I just wanted to put that out there that when I'm talking about their streaming service, I'm not talking about like a Game Pass or a Netflix for Quest games, right? They've already got that. That's kind of something else. That that's basically you have to download them to your Quest, but it's like a subscription thing. This is talking about PC quality games remotely played on your Quest.
Mhm.
And if they get that down, it's a game changer. It's
Mhm.
a game changer because all of a sudden mobile VR is playing PC VR. Uh, and that just opens up the whole conversation. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it like eliminates the need for this or that. Because I mean, personally, I'm still always going to play it on a actual like physical PC if I can. I don't want to subscribe to a cloud thing. But for a lot of people, these 20 million people that own Quest headsets, if they can get into PC gaming, and I mean, damn, it just comes down to, and this is what the I can't remember who it was. It was one of the big people at Meta that had stated that it was 5 years out. He said it was a lot of it comes down to infrastructure, like, and we're seeing that now. Like most of the people I know have fiber internet now. I will say in Canada and in the US, most have fiber or some version of fiber. I'm in a newer house. Luckily, I have fiber right to my box, like right to the modem. Given your neighborhood, you probably have fiber to the area, and then from the hub, it's the old copper wires into your house. But you still have fiber, and modems are getting better and better and better.
Mhm.
And that's the biggest thing. It's like as soon as like technology catches up and to the average person, it could be awesome. It could be awesome. And I
Could yeah,
and
absolutely.
and the rumbling is that Meta's going to play their hand probably in 2025 with their Avalanche service.
Yeah,
You
I
look.
mean the fact it's there, the fact there's the fact it did slip in the store. It does look that doesn't happen by accident. I
Oh,
mean,
you know what it
clearly.
was when I told you that Bradley had busted them? What it was is something slipped into the experimental section. For those of you who don't have a Quest, if you go into when you're in the settings, there is an experimental features section that you can opt into, and you can get early access to things like like things like hand tracking were originally in there. Things right now, one of the things I do use in there is the ability to play apps laying down. So you turn that on, and it'll allow you to put everything like up on your roof. Um, you haven't played Game Pass at the most laziness until you've played it laying down in bed with your blankies up to your neck and just sitting there
Way to
with
go,
the
Chris.
screen on the
Way
roof.
to go, Chris.
Demio laying down is just a joy. Ghost Signal,
That's
that's
awesome.
another one, good one. It's like lazy VR gamers unite.
That's awesome. Yeah, so like saying, so like the fact that it just appeared like temporarily in the store or the page was there, it tells me they're close, man. Like I mean, close might be a year away, but they're way closer than they were 5 years ago. And it's exciting because I think if Meta can figure this out, like it changes the entire VR landscape. Because all of a sudden now with Quest, you're streaming PC games. It puts the incentive for Meta to start investing in PC again. It shifts the whole market into focusing a little bit more on PC. Not to say it would change the entire the whole thing, but it's it could be huge, or it could be a huge massive letdown, and Meta will be like, oh yeah, sorry, we're still 2 years away, but like try our beta
Well,
for free.
what you hope is that it's more Game Pass and less Google Stadia.
Yeah,
Right? Um and I feel like it's probably going to be more Game Pass simply because they'll have the games. There's not even a competitor. Like that's the thing, right? Like it's not even like there's not even a VR war going on. Let's be honest. Like really. I mean, at this point in time, for all intents and purposes, PSVR gamers and Quest gamers are all playing the same game with a few exceptions. Like we are Team VR.
yeah.
And if a streaming service comes out for mobile VR, yes, they'll Quest guys are going to get access to like hopefully some of those amazing Oculus titles from like 2017, 2018, right? Like Brass Tactics and Lone Echo and the first Asgard's Wrath and Stormland, and the list goes on and on and on. There's a minefield there of amazing mine, no, not mine, a gold mine. uh it was either going to be Meta or it's going to be Steam.
Yeah.
And Meta has all the incentive to just throw endless money into it.
Yep.
Because then they also like if they can get away from even having to have all the processing power for standalone to compute, like because one of the things that has been out in the open was that they said like these even their Meta's brand new AR glasses that they were showing off and saying they're $30,000 glasses right now that like that they're trying to bring down to the masses. Like this is where they want to go. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
Oh no, no, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you're making a puzzled face.
Oh,
It's like,
sorry,
and they said these glasses do not have the processing power to play VR games. So like they're not there. That's just not what they are. They don't have to do the computing, and it's just cloud connected. Like now it's starting to feel like the future.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And like yeah, it's crazy. And once again, even if that's if the cloud becomes a thing, if they and Meta would do something, they would totally force that on everybody. Where now you're literally just buying just this Wi-Fi powered screen for your
you
face.
will
There's
own
nothing,
nothing and you will be happy.
right? That's exactly it. But I mean, it's also it's. I mean, the price when the price of your headset's now $100. I'm just putting random numbers out there, but when the cost of getting into VR goes down and the quality of your experience goes up, like how do you can sit there and be like, well, it's Meta and their data, and you don't own games, whatever. But I mean, it's the way everything else is going right now, and no one seems to really care. I mean, it's just no one, but people, it's still going this way. All the companies are forcing this, right? But
But
sure.
honestly, the
I
masses. I mean,
Yeah, I get it.
even like how we all flock. I mean, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant now.
Here we go.
Even as I mean, but just look at how we've all just completely bought into streaming services. Like music's one thing because I feel like with something like Spotify, all our music's on there, all of it. Like it's kind of like you'd be stupid to not be on a music service these days, because it's just everything's on there. There's very few like Garth Brooks is only on Apple or some bullshit like that, but for the most part, it's everything, right? streaming services are becoming a joke. Everyone needs to have a streaming service, and even Prime's got like 5 or 6 streaming services all within it. And you're like, no, sorry, this is on Shudder. Sorry, this is on Star. Like we were looking, Lindsay and I were watching Halloween movies, and we looked at the Final Destination series, and it was like you had to buy the first one, then the second one was on Shudder, the third one was on this like Star thing, and it was like, then the rest of them were on Crave. For you Canadians, you'll know what I mean. I'm like, it's a joke. But we're all like, duh, okay, streaming services. I pay my subscription. I get
you remind me I have to cancel my Disney, actually.
Yeah, well, everybody should. But that's a different topic. But I'm just saying, like, we just all expect everything for nothing, kind of. And we've seen how, like, none of these companies are making money, and they're all starting to, like, separate and charge more. And it's just becoming a shit show. I was reading an article that, like, physical media is on a huge rise again.
Yeah.
Because people are tired of it. It's like, I'm a movie fan, and if I want to watch a movie, I don't want to have to figure out where it is, if it even exists. And outside of new releases, chances are it doesn't. Like, on most of these services, like, a lot of them, like, even Netflix has said, like, there's no money in it for them to carry old movies.
Yeah.
Like, even movies that have been out for a year or two, like they don't make money off that. Like they don't actually get viewed a lot. So it's just it's a dangerous road to go down. I call it the race to the bottom, and I don't really want to see video gaming go down this path. That being said, when we are talking about something like mobile VR, it makes a lot more sense.
Standalone VR.
Yes, standalone VR. It really makes sense because we're at a bit of an impasse, like where processors are not getting much smaller. Like microchips they're already small as they can get. I don't know what the next leap is from the Quest 3 without it just getting bigger, or putting it in your pocket.
No, which I'm sure is why Meta has it. I'm sure they've invested tons into this program. It's not just one guy in a room working on cloud streaming VR. Like this is a huge deal because, like I said, if you can continue to deliver like the best quality experiences VR can get, it attracts developers. I think overall it's better for the industry. I'm not saying it's better for like the customer as far as ownership and whatnot, but as far as the industry goes, I do think it brings a lot more positive attention, especially when we've watched the VR industry flounder over the last 8 years. I mean, if you'd asked me 8 years ago where VR was going to be in a decade, I would have thought it'd be way bigger than what it is. And it definitely seems like things are changing now.
I would go take 2018-year-old or 2017 Ryan and be like, dude, in 2025, guess what I'm playing this fall? And you'd be like, what are you playing? Arizona Sunshine 1.
Yeah, remake. We're already remaking VR games from 8 years ago. This is where we're at. Yeah. That being said, it deserved the remake because that first game.
Let me ask you. Oh, so you don't know this. I would be curious to know how the Quest version of Arizona Sunshine remake compares to the PC version of Arizona Sunshine 1. Graphically.
Wait. Oh, graphically. I mean, like I said, graphically it's not great. I mean, the thing with the PC, dude, unless I didn't talk about it. Now we're just back into the Sunshine, but like, if you watch the clip, if you watch the side by sides, which I'll throw back on here again now, just because I can, like the amount of clipping and popping on the PC version on max settings, by the way, on max settings is insane. It's insane how much popping on the shadows, lighting. Like I was going through settings. Am I missing something wrong? Like, is there something wrong with me? Because it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how much popping there is. You can see it even on this little tiny screen on this podcast. You can still see. Just watch the left side and just watch how much popping you see. Once he gets outside the cave here, let's just get forward here. It's madness, Chris. Madness. But no, the number one still looks better. It looks better than the Quest 2 remake graphically. But all the ragdoll stuff is in there. All the all the just the new gunplay. Dude, the first game, there's no manual reloads. It's empty the clip, bring your gun to your waist.
Yep.
You're done. There's no option to put on like seems like it blew me away at how limited the gameplay options were compared to what we expect now. Because like I said, if number one would have released in the state it is in now, just gameplay wise, dude, it'd be 2 out of 10. This is an abortion in 2024. Like it's crazy. This game of it deserved a remake. I'm not saying it's like amazing remake, but it very much makes this. It's unplayable. It's unplayable. The original. It's crazy. But yeah. So visually speaking, the PC still. I think I was disappointed by the Quest 3 version of the remake. I was expecting it to look better than it did, and maybe that's just I don't know why I thought that. Because I mean, I played the Arizona Sunshine 2, and it's not like I was blown away by that. But I still expected more. It still kind of looked. Oh, it kind of looked like PSVR 1-y, I guess if you want to call it anything.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't jump back and forth between them, and that makes a big difference, right? Like you can play Into the Radius 1 on the Quest and go, damn, this looks pretty good. It's pretty sharp. I mean, but
look,
you can jump. You can jump. It's like open world. Like it's like these big, huge maps. Looks sharp. It looks good where it needs to. Like for the most part. Then you jump on the PSVR 2 or the PC version. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And Into the Radius isn't even a graphical powerhouse of a game. I mean, there's no comparisons to it. I don't know if the Quest 3 is getting any upgrades right now on Arizona Sunshine Remake. And it is a Quest 2 game. I looked that up. I was curious if it was a Quest 3 only game. And to me, that's really going to be the benchmark now. Like, I believe Metro is also a Quest 2 title.
Yep.
Batman is a Quest 3 only game. I believe Alien is a Quest 3 only game.
Yep.
Behemoth?
I think it's Quest 2.
I think it is. I think it is a Quest 2 as well, and I think it's going to be really struggling on that, just like Saints and Sinners Retribution did. But for me, it's like that's really where I'm curious to see these games like shine.
Quest 2 for Behemoth.
Anyways, just to go back quickly to the Avalanche conversation, one of the things I will say that I am guilty of is I am making an assumption that it's going to be a streaming service as opposed to, I mean, we know that it's streaming games off a cloud that's doing all the heavy lifting. We know that, and there's games like there's other services out like there like that for like PC and stuff, and on console, right? I guess, but what I don't know is it a streaming service? Like, is it like a Netflix where you subscribe, you get a bunch of games, and they control those games as they come and go type thing, or do you buy them? Both have their pluses and minuses. I mean, having access to everything for a set price is what we're used to these days. I'm not saying it's a good thing. We're used to it, but then there's always that risk of like, but if I pay for it. Like if I spend $50 on Lone Echo or $40, whatever they charge for, what if this service goes belly up?
Yeah.
That's a concern. Like I still, to this day, as much as I'm a Sony guy, I'll never buy a movie digitally on PlayStation. Like people have lost their movies. Like Sony got in crap for that. There was some shows in TV and what if you just like don't want to play PlayStation anymore, and now you're tethered to this PlayStation network for your movies.
Yeah,
I just like ugh.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I definitely agree with that too. Even the Disney side of things, where Disney they pulled Willow and they're pulling they're pulling their own self-made content, where it's just like what if I'm buying a subscription, you kind of want to have access to everything the subscription is promising, and this ever-changing landscape of like what you can and can't get is definitely it's not great. I mean, it's not great. But like I said, how they handle this as far as a library of games or like a monthly, it does change the value in this dramatically. But with the promise of potentially playing stuff like Asgard's Wrath and Lone Echo, or even some of the other Rift classics. Not that there's a ton of them, but there's enough where you kind of hope, like, playing Arizona Sunshine, but if you could stream the PC version, I mean, that's a better option than the Quest 3 native.
I mean, one thing that could be cool is if I don't know how this would really work. I'm kind of talking on my butt right now, but I guess there's no reason to believe that say like if Meta drops a cloud service with a bunch of games on there, that it's only going to be accessible in my Meta headsets. I assume it will be. I assume it would be a
Hmm.
Meta ecosystem. But I mean, I guess there's no reason that they couldn't allow other headsets to access it and just offer like just a cloud VR service because no one else is doing it. Like I'm saying, like I saw what made me think of it was that old Darth said he just played Lone Echo on PSVR 2. And I'm like, and I read that I was like, what you mean is you played Lone Echo on PC using a PSVR 2, like the PC did all the heavy lifting. Like you didn't actually play it on PSVR 2, and it only looks as good as the PC can do it too. So, and I'm not attacking you, Darth. I'm just saying it made me kind of like go, well, there's an opportunity there for all the other headsets on Steam VR, like the PSVR 2, to get that cloud service as well. And I don't know how feasible that is. I don't know if Meta has any incentive to do that, unless they just see lots of money. But I mean, it speaks to me as being more of standalone VR thing.
All
I
you
just
guys in chat, if you guys are redeeming codes, you better do this one quick because it's Arizona Sunshine Remake.
ho ho ho.
So you've been warned. I'm going to give it a minute so everyone's
This is
ready.
the Quest version.
This is the Quest version. All right, sorry. I didn't mean to kill you. I didn't mean to stop you in your tracks. That was my apology. All right,
Well,
3, 2, 1. There we go.
did you also notice that there's an Undead Citadel code in there?
Whoa, whoa! I do one. I end the episode with something legit. This is my
Okay,
my thing.
so
Every
I mean,
episode ends with a big one.
I
Or
feel like I feel
big
like
one.
ending it on Arizona Sunshine is appropriate.
I agree. I went to the code list looking for a banger. I was like, oh, this works. This
I
works.
feel like we should have. I feel like we should have like held on. We should have told people at the front of the video, just so they'd stick around.
Maybe
It's
next time we'll
drop.
do that.
Who knows when?
They know what time we end. They're just gonna come back at 8:20 and just ride this out. That's all they're gonna do.
Yeah. No. Anyways, Darth. Yeah. No. Totally. I would imagine he was just saying that. Like, no, he meant that like the space blacks, the blacks looked amazing in it, and they would. Yeah. He's damn right about the fact that Lone Echo would look sick on the HDR display. Getting out in like the true blacks out in space.
I
And
don't know
it's
how the resolution of those holds up. As far as because like I said, even when you play on, I know we have to end this soon, but like some of those Rift games were built for the Rift, so the resolution on those things natively stinks. And some of those games don't have the option to upscale without using third party stuff. Like Steam has the option, right?
you can't. Well, you can super sample, right? You can. So super
But if
sampling.
you're streaming, but if you're like this is what I'm saying, but if
If
you're
you're
using a
streaming
streaming
it,
service, do this. This does like and Lone Echo only maxes out at whatever at a resolution of like whatever 1980, but your Quest 3 can do 2000 plus. Like where is
I would be shocked if Meta did not include a some kind of a resolution scaler. Like they don't call it super sampling on the Oculus, the PC Oculus app, which is Meta's PC app. I'm you basically, and it's cumbersome because you have to like go into the device, go into the graphical settings, and there you can adjust like what the stock, like what refresh rate it will actually hit as a cap, and it'll or try to go for, and then you can also increase your resolution slider, and like that's how you have to do it. That's it. You can't do it in game. Like on Steam VR, on a lot of those games, you can bring up super sampling like right off the hop, and it's a big deal on some of those games. Like for example, like on Hellsinger VR, Metal Hellsinger.
Mhm.
Like between the PC and the PSVR 2 version, they're both pretty soft looking games, but the fact that you could crank up super sampling on the PC helped. So I'd be shocked if they didn't do anything like that. I will say though, on the Lone Echo topic, when Lone Echo 2 came out, I actually found that Lone Echo 1 was a smoother experience and actually overall looked better.
I recall this conversation.
Yeah.
I played Lone Echo 1 briefly after I played 2. I thought it was fairly similar, but I only played like through the first like 20 minutes before I put it down and never picked it up again for some reason. I'm not sure why.
The thing about Lone Echo 1 and 2, it does look gorgeous. Actually, it's still like again, it's still
Pretty
one of
games.
it's still one of those games that like just like very few rivals. Especially like if you want to talk about modeling a human
Yeah.
face, it rivals some of the biggest AAA games.
And then touching that face. Ew, ew.
Yeah, yeah. And she goes like this. If you want your self esteem to just get stomped on, go play Lone Echo and try to touch her face. Or even her boobs. She like went like this to me, and I was like, I felt so dirty. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you did that.
I didn't mean to. I floated into her.
Oh, sure. Okay. Oh, this is an episode of Seinfeld now.
But anyways, yeah, it's a gorgeous looking game, and it still just hasn't. It's like a bar that hasn't been reached. But what I was gonna say is, kind of like Half-Life Alyx, and to I mean obviously a much greater degree. You were talking about the first Arizona Sunshine. They feel dated. Even Lone Echo 2, because it was definitely like just an extension of Lone Echo 1. Like its movement systems, like they were so worried about not making you feel sick. Like you couldn't do this. You couldn't spin around. You couldn't do the like a full flip. You were still kind of like
you could in number 2. In number 2 you could put it on full
you
immersive.
could turn it on. You could turn that on, but you still couldn't do this though, right? You couldn't do like you couldn't go full detached. It didn't have that. It didn't have that full gravity spin to you. It still always felt you still felt kind of locked down. I'm not saying you couldn't get a little bit like nuts, but it never took the handcuffs off completely. And I want that.
Handcuffs?
Training wheels? Do you prefer that?
Yeah, handcuffs sounds wrong to me. I'm not just doing. I'm running on fumes here. I don't know why this is the weirdest things are tripping my brain up right now. Handcuffs. Chris, we did it. Somehow we actually did this episode. I didn't think it was going to happen, honestly.
Yeah, sorry for the late start, guys, but once it's up on the channel, no.
Yeah, so we didn't really do it in the beginning of the episode like we usually do, but thank you all to our Patreon supporters, our YouTube subscribers. You guys help make us who we are, and obviously just thank you guys for tuning into this, watching, commenting, just thumbing up this, thumbs up. We love thumbs up. It helps us immensely. So just any way you can support the channel, we appreciate you immensely. And if you do want or are interested in getting a MetaQuest, we have affiliate links below. You get a little piece, some credit. We get some coin. No pressure at all. But they're there. And yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I think that's all I got. I gotta go play some VR. I'm gonna go jump. I might actually jump into Black.
That's my last. Go back to Arizona Sunshine, the original, and just be like, God damn, this is the worst thing I've played in the last 5 years.
If you guys are coming into this podcast late, Into Black, I promise they owe me nothing. They don't owe me any money for this. I'm just saying Into Black, one of the best VR games that you will play this year. It's awesome.
Fine. I mean, I'm gonna get it if it sucks.
I got to do a review on it. I don't normally do late reviews like that, but it's just like I gotta shout it from the rooftops, man.
All right. On that note, guys, Into Black. We all love you. Chris, say goodbye.
Say goodbye, Ryan. Goodbye.
Goodbye.